As many countries around the world commemorated World Press Freedom Day on 3rd May 2022, the president of the Media Association of St. Kitts and Nevis said the sign of a maturing democracy is reflected in the buoyancy of its media and the ability of its citizens and residents to access pertinent public information in a timely manner. The Media Association President Andrew Huey made this comment in the context that St. Kitts and Nevis still has no functioning freedom of information legislation, although it was passed in the National Assembly since 2015. It is for such reason, the President stated, that the Media Association joined its colleagues at the Media Institute of the Caribbean in the call for the introduction of access to information in an attempt to fight misinformation and disinformation. In his statement, Media Association President Huey said, quote, "Where such ignorance persists, misinformation and disinformation become the order of the day, creating even more challenges for media houses that are already grossly understaffed." Despite these many challenges, however, the Media Association of St. Kitts and Nevis is confident that the advocacy efforts of our executive team and the call from civil society, supported by the Association of Caribbean Media Workers, will result in the relevant mechanisms being put in place to facilitate access to information, end quote. According to President Huey, the activation of the Freedom of Information legislation on St. Kitts and Nevis will be of help to the public by supporting a, quote, "dynamic, robust media," end quote. In his statement, Huey encouraged members of the Media Association of St. Kitts and Nevis to sustain professional practices and to be mindful of the critical role they play in the fourth estate of a modern and maturing democracy. Glenn Bart reporting for SK Newsline.
The St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party on the eve of Labour Day paid homage to Labour stalwarts by laying wreaths at their gravesides. Opposition leader Dr. Denzel Douglas, while laying wreaths at the grave of Sir Cuthbert Sebastian, the nation's longest-serving Governor-General, said he always ensured justice for aggrieved civil servants.
Public servants who would have felt that they were unfairly treated within the public service would make their way to Government House to see him, and he would use his best efforts to ensure that justice was pursued.
Wreaths were laid also at the graves of Joseph Nathaniel France, Sir Probin Innes, Sir Robert L. Bradshaw, Sir Paul Southwell, Charles E. Mills, Sir Lee Moore, Owen Keynes, Fitzroy Bryant, and Esmond St. John Payne.
It is fitting that we celebrate all of our comrades, but in particular, Sir Joseph Nathaniel France, who was part and parcel of all significant progressive movements on behalf of the worker.
And I say it again, that whenever the next general elections are called, I will return as the Honourable, carrying on the legacy that Sir Paul Southwell would have done.
And he refused to assent to a particular bill that he found to be unconstitutional. He was fearless and he refused to assent to the bill. Thereafter, he was terminated, unfortunately, but he continued his contribution privately in private practice. And even as Marcelo would have suggested, Comrade Marcelo suggested through even church, and more importantly, his documentation of our history as a people. And so this afternoon, we want to acknowledge the contribution, the sterling contribution of Sir Probin Innes.
But through the work of Comrade Bryant and the St. Kitts Nevis Labour movement on a whole, today we have a foundation that is working for our people. But
today, he was who led us into our first blush of independence, political independence from Great Britain.
It is indeed a distinct honor for me to be here to lay this wreath on the gravesite of Comrade Moore. As I analyze his life and his work, I indeed find it as a great source of inspiration.
We want to remember His Excellency Mr. St. John Payne, but he chose to be part of the government in St. Kitts and Nevis so that he can contribute in the ministry of which he served.
Owen Keynes became the embodiment of the spirit of trade unionism here in St. Kitts and Nevis, especially at the field side of operations of the sugar industry. Charles Mills was a phenomenal leader of the labor movement.
Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. When visiting St. Martin, you want clean, affordable accommodations. You need Midtown Motel in the heart of Phillipsburg, a place where you can relax, take a stroll on Great Bay Beach, and that provides you easy access to great shopping. Midtown Motel, located on Front Street, Phillipsburg, St. Martin. Call Midtown Motel at 721-542-0614 and book your stay today.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips. Nestled between evergreen mountains and the Caribbean Sea on the island of St. Kitts is the Mill House Guest House and Convention Center. With breathtaking views, a rugged, beautiful shoreline, and immaculate manicured gardens make this the perfect location for your holiday, event, or wedding. With a large convention center, apartments with balconies providing stunning views, and a secluded cottage for larger family groups or honeymooning couples looking for some privacy. We have something for everyone. Book your stay at www.millhouseskn.com or visit our Facebook page, the Mill House Guest House and Convention Center, an oasis of tranquility.
Come get your fresh smoothie at Master Mix Smoothie in Bastyr at 2 locations, the Bastyr Public Market or under the arch at the National Museum. Get a fresh, all-natural, healthy and tasty smoothie with flavors of your choice. Master Mix Smoothie knows the flavors that you like and mixes it all up for you the way you want it. Master Mix Smoothie, 2 locations, the Bastyr Public Market or under the arch at the National Museum. Master Mix Smoothie, always the real thing, always smoothie.
Officials and technicians have begun a 3-part webinar on battery storage systems and their applications to electric vehicles and smart grids. According to information from the Energy Unit in the Ministry of Infrastructure, the webinar is being sponsored by the Embassy of the Republic of China on Taiwan and involves policymakers, engineers, technicians, and managers from both private and public sectors. Benafia Frank, Energy Officer in the government's Energy Unit, spoke with SK Newsline about the webinar and how it fits into the government's renewable energy trading initiatives over the coming years.
The government signed an agreement with the Taiwanese mission for a consultancy. So they would bring in a consultant to advise the unit on renewable energy in the country, in the Federation. And one of his roles would have been to conduct a few workshops. So that is something that he was recognizing that we have a lot of renewable energy systems that we want to implement, but the systems and the sources of the energy are intermittent, meaning that we won't have them 24/7. So the battery storage will play into stability, and it will help with the general demand.
The review of battery storage and energy comes at a time when the government is trying to step up its renewable energy solutions for St. Kitts and Nevis. Glenn Bart reporting for SK Newsline.
The Association of Caribbean Media Workers, ACM, is urging Caribbean governments and their domestic allied institutions to take all necessary steps to ensure that journalists are not targeted with the intention of revealing the identity of confidential sources. President of the ACM, Nazima Ragubir, speaking on the occasion of World Press Freedom Day observed on Tuesday, said the environment within which journalists in the Caribbean operate is becoming increasingly perilous.
In a number of Caribbean countries, state entities have been accused of acquiring spyware that can access a digital communication and undermine privacy and other rights. The ACM urges the Caribbean governments and their domestic allied institutions to take all necessary steps to ensure that journalists are not targeted with the intention of revealing the identity of confidential sources. With most media and journalists having an online presence, media enterprises have become acutely aware of some inherent vulnerabilities. These include exposure to hackers whose sole objective is to destroy channels that offend the public or private status quo and so inhibit the free flow of truth to the wider public.
The ACM president encouraged media houses to take the necessary cybersecurity measures.
Equally, journalists and media houses are being advised to put in place the required measures to prevent, detect, and block intrusions to their privacy and ultimately their software and hardware infrastructure. The ACM pledges to treat the matter of cybersecurity and journalism with utmost priority in conjunction with state and non-state actors as well as our international affiliates.
The theme for this year's World Press Freedom Day is Journalism Under Siege. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline. Want to buy some fresh fruits, vegetables, or ground provision, but don't have the time to go to the market or even to find parking? Look no further. Green Market and Delivery is your solution. Green Market and Delivery is an e-commerce store that sells and delivers local produce to customers in St. Kitts and Nevis. Anything you purchase, you can get fresh from the market and delivered directly to your door. Log on to www.greenmarketskn.com. Click on the e-store link, choose your items, and shop away. We have a wide array of products from fruits, vegetables, local products, spices and seasonings, and much more. Save time and energy. Shop on greenmarketskn.com, your one-stop shop for fresh local produce.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips.
Stay abreast with news on St. Martin with SMN News. Visit www.smn-news.com for up-to-date news, scoops, opinions, and hard-hitting facts. SMN News, we tell it like it is. Visit our website www.smn-news.com.
An open interactive event can be described as
tremendous, effective,
on par with any conference around the world.
From exhibitions to trade shows, corporate events to product launches, from press events to political functions. We are the secret sauce behind events that make you go, wow. We've staged multiple world-class events in the Caribbean and developed the skill to deliver quality in every detail, whether the event is live or fully virtual, or maybe even somewhere in between. At Open Interactive, we got your events covered. Get your free quotation today at www.madebyopen.com.
Less developed countries continue to feel the brunt of the effects of inflation brought on by the war between Russia and Ukraine, Just Monday, further increases in the prices of petroleum products were announced, including the 20-pound cylinder of cooking gas, which is now $42.93. To deal with the impact, Consumer Affairs Minister Emma Hippolyte has disclosed that government is looking into several options to ease the burden on the consumer. The business community and the Ministry of Finance have been engaged in discussion on the situation.
We do that. I guess in a week or two, we will inform the public as to which option is finally decided upon.
Basic commodities like rice have been in short supply, causing the government to ration warehouse stock. As a result, Minister Hippolyte is appealing to consumers to be conservative in the use of products.
It is a challenge. We see what is happening in the world, and it is the moment for consumers to be a lot more conscious of what they consume, how they consume, and more than anything else, to come together in a much stronger way as an association so that they can make decisions affecting them.
The minister encouraged more members of the public to join the National Consumers Association in order to come together to better deal with the situation. For the DBS News World, I'm Don Nicholas.
The Judicial Committee of the Privy Council began hearing the landmark case on Tuesday with interest extraordinarily high in both St. John's and Codrington. It's being heard by Lord Reid, Lord Sales, Lord Hamblin, Lord Bowers and Lady Rose. The appellant's attorney, Justin Simon, Queen's Counsel, appeared in person, while lead attorney for the government, Senior Counsel Anthony Astafan, made his submissions virtually. The appellants have argued that the Paradise Fund Act of 2015, which gave effect to a lease of land on the Sister Isle to Paradise Fund LLC, constituted a breach of their rights. They insist this amounts to a compulsory acquisition of their interest in the land without compensation, and say it violated Section 9 of the Constitution of Antigua and Barbuda, which protects against the deprivation of property. Senior Counsel Astafan made it clear the government's position is sound, as he made reference to the ruling of the Court of Appeal, which had said the appellants did not have a personal right of property in the leased land.
In any event, the appellants in this case could not have claimed any interest or right to occupation or a lease in any aspect of the lands that were being covered by the Paradise Fund Project Act Schedule 1. In other words, Barbuda was divided into zones that were specifically for the purposes of Barbudans, and other parts for major developments which had consultation processes, all of which we now know has been accepted by the appellants as having been complied with by the state.
However, through their lead attorney, Justin Simon, Queen's Counsel, Walker and Frank insist the Paradise Fund Act breached the rights of Barbudans since the land is held in trust by the government on their behalf.
What the appellants are indicating is that they have an interest in and a right to over the property in light of the Section 3.1 of the Barbuda Land Act, so that actual occupation or lease does not preclude Section 9 of the Constitution from being invoked.
The court will make a determination based on the arguments and additional submissions in the weeks ahead.
We're grateful to all counsel for their assistance. This is obviously an important appeal for people of Barbuda. We'll consider what's been said and the additional submissions that you may let us have, and we'll then give you our decision as quickly as we can.
This is the Gazprom Neft installation in Khanty-Mansiysk. From installations like these in Siberia and across Russia, crude oil, diesel and petrol are pumped to customers. Taken together, every day, nearly 8 million barrels of crude and refined products are exported. 2/3 of them end up in Europe. But now, Russia's war against Ukraine has changed everything.
Today, we are addressing our dependency on Russian oil. And let's be clear, it will not be easy, because some member states are strongly dependent on Russian oil, but we simply have to do it. So today we will propose to ban all Russian oil from Europe. This will be a complete import ban on all Russian oil, seaborne and pipeline, crude and refined.
But in order for this to happen, it will need the support of all EU member states. Some are highly dependent on Russian oil and are strongly resistant to all-out embargoes. The Hungarians say what matters most to them is protecting their economy and people.
War is going on, and as a consequence, prices are rising in the whole of Europe. There are signs of a serious crisis of energy, and the European economies are facing miseries, and we are not yet out of the age of epidemics. On April 3rd, people made a clear decision that they expect the leaders of the country to defend them and Hungary from these dangers.
The new sanctions proposed in Strasbourg will also target several large Russian banks and other financial institutions.
We finally de-SWIFT Sberbank. Sberbank is the largest Russian bank. It holds round about 37% of the whole banking sector. And we will also de-SWIFT two other major banks in Russia. By that, we hit banks that are systemically critical to the Russian financial system and Putin's ability to wage destruction.
The notable absentee from all this is Russian natural gas. In a sense, it's the elephant in the European living room. Too big to be ignored, but also too big unilaterally to be done away with without seriously damaging economies across this continent. And that's the problem facing EU leaders. They want to act fast against Russia, but they're stuck with the reality of decisions that governments across Europe made over decades when they thought that it was in their best interests to make deals with President Putin. Dominic Kane, Al Jazeera, Berlin.
Kicking off with football, Reggae Girls head coach Vin Blaine believes external forces are influencing a move by senior players trying to get him axed less than 3 months ahead of the final round of World Cup qualifiers in Mexico. As Kian Rayner reports, Blaine's disclosure comes after TVJ Sports quizzed him about a letter sent to the top brass of the JFF days ago asking that he be removed.
Where the JFF General Secretary Dalton went, confirming the existence of the letter which TVJ Sports understands was signed by 20 players including Captain Khadija Bonishaw, calling for head coach Vin Blaine to be sacked. The veteran coach thinks external forces are behind the move.
I really couldn't call names, that's serious business. But I know, they know who they are, but it's not surprising to me. Because even before a ball was kicked, that it started. So, we just have to, as I said, whenever time comes for me to really not defend myself, but to state some facts and let people who listen and hear some of the facts be the judge.
And despite guiding the Reggae Girls to the final round of qualifying on the back of 4 straight wins, Blaine disclosed that the environment has been anything but pleasant.
So I just say one thing, that this environment was a bit toxic. We don't get into further details.
And this is before you joined on as coach?
Yes. It started before that. There are a lot of things that was going on. When I was hired, I was appointed. There are some things that from the day I was appointed, it started.
Wendt, the JFF General Secretary, was not prepared to give assurances that Blaine would remain as head coach.
Should coach be in the concern for his job?
As I said, I can't comment on it because we have been having some internal discussion and, I would not be able to make a comment on it at this time.
Coach Blaine is now in a wait-and-see mode, even as he had planned camps ahead of the final round of qualifying against Mexico, USA and Haiti.
Well, the plan was to have camps going forward, 2 camps. But with this, what's coming out, I have to let the JFF decide what their position is. But the plan was to have camps and then move forward.
And Tobago have been drawn in Group B alongside Canada, Costa Rica and Panama. The top 2 teams from each group will qualify automatically to the FIFA Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand in 2023, while the 3rd place team will advance to the Interconfederation playoffs. Keon Reyna reporting for TVJ Sports.
Welcome to the SKN Newsline Weather Report. I am Janil Boone. Here is a look at the 4-day forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. For a more detailed weather report, visit our website at www.sknnewsline.com.